The simple way to use a coin to turn on a computer would be to locate the front panel connectors here and then short out the 2 power pins. If you do that, the computer will spin to life. But that said, there's a much cooler way to use a coin to turn on a computer. And in this video, we're gonna try to figure that out. We'll essentially be treating our computer like an old arcade game, where if you insert the proper coin, well, the computer will spin to life. I mean, if we can pull this off, I think it'd be really cool. But in order to do so, we need to do a bit of complicated wiring. And so if you'd like to follow along, I'll leave links to all of the tools and materials used in this video in the description down below. But the crown jewel of this all is the coin acceptor itself, which is a fascinating piece of technology that turns the physical attributes of coins into digital signal. It's also somehow only $20 on Amazon. I thought this was gonna be like 500 bucks. I don't know why. We'll set this up together, but if you're curious about how it actually works, like the internal mechanisms of it, there's a fantastic breakdown on another channel that I'll also link down below. But as a very quick overview, it uses infrared LEDs and phototransistors to determine the diameter and speed of coin as it's inserted. And then it also uses a pair of coils in order to create a magnetic field and then measure the magnetic disturbance of the material of the coin as it passes through as well. And just by knowing those few properties, you can differentiate a quarter from, say, a nickel from a penny. But okay, let's actually set this up. Out of the box, it comes with a set of wires which plugs into these pins in the back here, just like that. And if you look closely, the top wire is for DC12, the second one is for coin, then ground, then counter. We're not gonna be using the counter one, so we're just gonna be using these top 3 wires. So the red, white, and black. Since this takes in 12 volts of power, there's a few different ways we can power it, but what I'm gonna use is a power supply breakout board. And so this is fantastic if you happen to have an extra like PSU laying around that you would use in your computer. So if you take the motherboard cable from that power supply and plug it in right here, well, all of a sudden you have access to 12 volt, 5 volt, even a 3.3 volt plus a ground. And to access it, all you have to do is click this little on switch. And then of course, put the wires where you need them. So to wire this properly, we need to take the red wire from our device here and plug it into the 12V slot of our breakout board, and the black wire, which is ground, and attach that to the ground on the breakout. So to prep our wires, we just need to strip them, which we can do by just tearing off a little bit of that rubber to expose the actual wire. We'll do that for the ground, for the 12 volt. And since we're here, I'm also going to strip off a little bit of that coin wire, the white one. Okay, so now on our breakout board, we wanna loosen up the plus 12 and the ground over here. I like to kind of bend the wire a little bit like that, and then you can slide it underneath that thumb screw before tightening it down. Now remember, that was the red wire, so the 12 is going to the 12, and now our black wire, our ground, is going to the ground. All right, that's a good start. So at this point, when we turn on our power supply, well, this should come to life as well if wired properly. Now it's time for the setup of our actual coin selector, because this you can technically train to accept literally any coin. But for the sake of this project, we're gonna make it read a quarter as our power button. This part's also a bit overly complicated, but here, just follow what I'm doing. We're gonna press the add and minus button together until we get the letter A. And now if we press the setup button, it should change to an E. Now if we press the plus or minus, we can select how many coins we want this reader to actually accept. And in our case, we only care about a single coin. So once that shows 1, we can just press the setup button again. Now we basically set the training set, AKA the number of coins we insert in order to teach this what a quarter is. So we'll leave it at 15, and then we'll press setup again. Now this part's really important. How many pulses will this output whenever that coin is inserted? Well, we specifically want this to just be 1 pulse, since if you think about a power button, we just want it to go on and off. So leave that at 1 and then press the setup button again. This is now setting the sensitivity. I think 5 is fine for this. So then we'll press setup again. And at this point, I'm going to power off and power back on the device, which after turning it off, and then turning it back on, if now we press and hold setup, we get to the A1 screen. And now it's time to do the training. What the device is doing now is learning all these characteristics of the coin as it's passing through the chute, so that in the future, it can know if that coin comes through again. So I'm gonna just put this through 15 times. It's also useful here to put in like more than 1 coin over and over again, because what it's doing is averaging out all of those things, learning about it. And 15, boom, now it's trained. So at this point, if we were to insert a penny, it would just come out to the return slot. But if we insert our quarter, well, it counts it as 1 and it comes out this backside, which means we've successfully trained our coin selector to output a signal whenever a quarter is inserted. But now what do we do with that signal? How do we actually get it to talk to our computer? Well, that's where this white coin wire comes into play, because if we follow this, we now have an exposed wire that receives that pulse every time a correct coin is inserted into here. Unfortunately, we can't just plug this directly into our computer because this is a single wire and these are 2 power pins that need to be shorted in order to turn on the computer. And while there are many ways to take a single input and short out 2 other pins, the simplest way that I've come across is with this, a relay. This is a really cool device that takes in a signal and then flips a mechanical switch inside of here whenever that signal is present, and outputs that signal with these guys over here. It's essentially a mechanical version of a transistor, which I also tried to use for this project, but didn't have as much luck. And also this involves like a lot of soldering, which for the simplicity of you following along at home, let's just go ahead and use a relay. So I'll show you how to wire this thing up. If we look at the relay here, on the side that says DC plus, DC minus, and in, we're actually actually going to be feeding it the same power that we're sending to this device right now. So we're gonna use this same breakout board. So first, let's start by connecting DC plus to 12 volts and DC minus to ground. And to do that, we need to introduce some more wire. So this is just basic 28 gauge wire. I'll also leave a link down in the description below for this. But I'm going to cut just 1 and 2 medium lengths of wire and then strip off each end to expose that internal wire. It would probably be beneficial for me to color code which ones are positive and which ones are ground. So let me actually remove one of these red wires and replace it with a black wire. But at home, you can use any wire for anything, really. Just good practice. Now you will probably need a smaller Phillips head screwdriver for this, but if you go in here, you can unscrew to loosen each of these little ports here, just like that. Gonna go ahead and loosen the in port as well. So now we can insert our red wire into the opening of DC plus and then screw down that screw to tighten it until it's basically stuck in there. Perfect. And now we'll take our black wire and put it into the DC minus. Rinse and repeat, screw it down. Eventually it should look something like this. So now if we come back over to our breakout board, let's make sure that it's turned off. And then we can take the other end of our red wire that's plugged into our relay and we can insert it into the plus 12 in the same spot that our other device is plugged into. So now there's 2 wires coming out of the 12. And then we can repeat that with the ground as well. So we can unscrew our ground over here and insert the other black wire into it as well. All right, perfect. Now if we go ahead and power on our breakout board, we can see the relay turn on and our coin selector turn on. That's awesome. Okay, let's power this off again. And now it's time to connect our coin selector to the relay by using this white coin wire. So again, we're gonna take this white wire coming out of our coin selector and plug it into the in port of our relay, this one right down here. Okay, so now your relay should be looking a little something like this, which means we're over halfway there. Now we just need to connect this relay to our computer. And to do that, we're going to use the other side of the relay. We're gonna use this NO and the COM. NO stands for normally open and NC stands for normally closed. You can basically dictate the starting orientation of the switch inside of here. So like I said, in our case, we want normally open. At this point, we basically need to mimic a PC case's power button. You know how when you press the power button on your PC case, there's a wire that goes all the way down to your motherboard. Now there's a few ways to do this next step, and one of them involves crimping, which is the process of adding new headers onto a wire. If that feels a little too complicated to you, what you could potentially do is cut an existing cable inside of your PC case in order to get this same wire. But since I don't want to damage your existing components, I'm going to show you how to do this from scratch. Now, if you want to skip the crimping step, they do actually sell DuPont wires that have these kind of already crimped together. You would basically use these in between the NO and the COM ports of the relay and the motherboard. To start, we'll need 2 more lengths of wire. I'm going to make these ones a bit longer since they're going directly to the computer. That should do. Okay, boom. 2 wires just like that. While we're here, I'm going to strip each end of them again to expose that wire. And now specifically, we need to grab the female DuPont terminal pin, which if you have a kit like this, you should have a whole bunch. I'll leave a link for this kit down below as well. And while we're at it, we're also gonna need to grab a 2-piece DuPont housing. Now, if you build computers, this piece might actually look pretty familiar because it's what you typically plug from your PC case into the front panel headers here. And that's what we're basically building from scratch. So now if we take one of our exposed wires and slide it into the DuPont terminal, just like that, our goal is to bend these 2 wings here around the wire so it basically hugs it into place. And actually this wire is a bit long, so I'm gonna snip it a bit. This is a step that can feel pretty awkward initially, but the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it. So I'm going to take my crimpers here and basically just set this in here so I can pinch those teeth together. And if done properly, well, now this DuPont connector is firmly grasping that wire. If you made it this far, awesome job. So now let's set that entire wire aside and grab our other wire and repeat the same process on one end of the exposed wire. So we'll slide on our DuPont casing, put it into the crimper and crimp away. Boom, just like that. So now if we bring our other wire in, we have these 2 female DuPont connectors, which now need to be placed inside of this DuPont housing. So the trick is that for this DuPont housing, you see there's like a flat side and then there's a side with like these little notches and arrows. And on the female connectors, there's also like a side without much detail. On the other side, there's like a lot more detail. You want to align the detail sides together. And so if we insert them just like this, eventually the clips will catch. And now this is a very sturdy connection. Amazing, which means now on the other end of these wires, we can connect these back to our relay. And at this point, as long as we're using NO and the COM ports, it doesn't matter which wire goes into which. So I'm going to arbitrarily put this wire into the COM port and tighten it down. And then I'll place the other exposed wire into the NO port, which we can tighten down as well. Amazing. Okay, now there's literally one step left, which is to plug this DuPont housing now over top of these exposed power pins on our motherboard, which in this case are these 2 right here. So now everything hypothetically is wired correctly. So if we go ahead and turn on our breakout board so that our relay and our coin selector are powered, we make sure that our power supply for our computer is also turned on. Well, when we insert our quarter, well, you can see that nothing immediately happens. And that's because there's actually one more setting on the relay we need to change. So I'm gonna go ahead and power off again real quick, and we need to actually change this jumper from high to low. So to do that, you can simply pull off this little piece and then slide it one pin to the right, like that, so that it's closer to the L than the H. So now if we turn everything back on, grab our quarter again and insert it into our slot, well, again, you'll see that nothing happens. And because we actually need to change one more setting on our selector as well. Down over here, you can see fast, medium, and slow. By default, there's a switch in here that's set to medium. We need to pull this down to slow. And if we do that and try it all one last time, we will take our quarter and insert it. Well, our computer does in fact spin to life, which is magic. And to prove that it won't work with just any coin, I'm gonna turn off our computer. Here is this is a 2-cent euro. If we put it in, well, nothing happens, just gets returned. We put in a nickel, put it in, nothing happens, just gets returned. How about a US penny? Put it in, well, just gets returned. But again, if we put in our quarter, well, our computer spins to life. How cool is that? Legitimately one of the coolest ways I've ever seen a PC turn on. It's honestly fascinating. I would say the main downside of this is that you do kind of require a second power supply in order to like power these other devices. You could certainly make a much nicer holder for this coin slot thingy majigger, but here's a prototype, you know, and it works, which is fascinating. Deuce came to say hi. Deuce wanted to see the coin selector as well. Hi, buddy. Like I said, there's a handful of ways that you could go about this, but the fact it all works together is fascinating to me. And well, if you happen to follow along this tutorial and try it out for yourself, let me know how it goes. Links for everything I used in this video can be found in the description down below. And well, with that, I've been Mr. Yeester, your tech tinkerer. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Oh yeah.